Ready or not, here I come with a review for y'all. This survival horror comedy picks up right where the first movie left off, but doesn't push the needle enough to actually justify a sequel. Today we're talking about Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, starring Samara Weaving returning as Grace and introducing Catherine Newton as her sister, Faith. Welcome to the Grab Some Popcorn podcast. I'm your host, Jared, and today I've got a standalone review for you. Now, if you haven't seen the first Ready or Not, here's a quick recap. Grace marries into a wealthy family only to find out they have a deadly tradition. They play a game where she has to survive the night while they hunt her down as part of a satanic ritual. That's all you really need to know, and of course she survives the night. The sequel picks up immediately after those events, with the original family gone, new players into the game, and because Grace survived, she's become something much bigger, a target. A spot is opened up at the top, and now everyone wants it. Let's talk about the strengths of this movie. For me, the biggest one is the characters. They stood out a lot more here than they did in the first film. This group just feels more distinct. Everyone has their own personality, their own role, and their own motives, which makes them more memorable. They're also funnier this time around. The humor lands better because each character brings something different to the table. In the first movie, since the family was all related, some of them kind of blended together, but in this one, it's more of a chaotic mix. A whole bunch of wild personalities clashing, and it makes the dynamics way more entertaining to watch. Now let's get into the weaknesses. For me, this movie feels a little too much like a copy and paste of the first one. They introduce the sister and add a small twist, but overall the story beats feel very similar. It definitely delivers on the blood and chaos, but none of the deaths really stood out as memorable. There aren't many moments that stick with you after it's over. There's even one scene where a character uses a rocket launcher and somehow it ends up shooting backwards. I get that it's supposed to be a horror comedy and that moment was supposed to land as a joke, but for me it just didn't work. I will say though, this one did make me laugh a bit more than the first one. Going into it, my expectations were already pretty low since I wasn't that into the original. And while this wasn't a bad movie, it just comes off kind of bland to me. I know that there are people who are probably really looking forward to this, especially if you love the first one, and that's completely fair. If that's you, let me know what you enjoyed about it in the comments. But for me personally, it just wasn't for me. Alright, now let's get the spoilers. The main twist here revolves around Grace being given a choice. She can marry one of the people that's trying to kill her in exchange for her sister's life. The problem is it doesn't really add much and it felt pretty predictable. From early on, you could tell this movie is setting up tension between Grace and Faith since their relationship is already so rocky. So when Faith ends up being used as leverage, it's not surprising at all. It does give the story a little more to work with compared to the first movie, but not enough really to elevate it. And the ending, it pretty much plays out the same way the first one did, which goes right into my biggest issue. It feels like copy and paste. To be real, the whole thing comes off as a bit of a cash grab, and it'll probably work too just because of how successful the first movie was. Overall, I thought this movie was just okay. It doesn't do much differently from the first movie, so if you enjoyed the original, you'll probably have a good time with this, but if you weren't a fan, this is an easy skip. Ready or not, here's my score, 4 out of 10, and I do not recommend this movie. Alright y'all, that's all for this one. Be sure to leave a comment, let me know what you thought of the review, let me know what you thought of the movie. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.